Here to celebrate what God is doing in Peru. So we want to start by going to the Lord in prayer. I want to turn it over to them as quickly as possible. So let's go to the Lord in prayer. Precious Heavenly Father God, I just thank you for every blessing. And I thank you for everything that you do. And through these missionaries, Lord, that you've used to go out and do your work. I pray now that you just give them a calm. Let your ever-presence be with them to give them peace as they come before people who love them, Lord, that want to hear their story. And we just pray that you will give them that comfort as they come up here to share. And we just thank you for what you're doing and pray you continue to bless them for what they've done for you. It's in Jesus' name we pray these things. Amen. Ms. Barbara.
Okay, I say it every time I come back. It was a great trip. It always is. Okay, can y'all hear me? No feedback or anything. That's good. All right. So we did have a really good trip. Our flights was good. Everything was good. A lot has happened in Peru in the last 3 years. The pandemic, of course, played havoc on them as well as everybody. So we want to share what has happened through the pandemic and plans for the future. And the first thing I'm going to start with is the park, the children's park that we built in that little, it's the 9th of July is the name of the little city or the little town. And the park is in a community that is being built. They do have plots plotted off to sell, and they're selling lots for houses. And so things are happening there. During the pandemic, for some reason, and it's just a God thing, that the park had Wi-Fi. Imagine that. It's in the middle of nowhere. It had Wi-Fi. Kids came to the park by the groves. The park was full every day. Kids going to the park to get on Wi-Fi to do their schoolwork. So that was amazing. Maria said that the kids would get there early and try to get there as early as they can so they could get the seats at the table, because we only put 2 tables under the shelter, and so they all wanted tables. And while we were there, there was a little boy doing his homework and at the park, and I guess he probably does that every day. He was 6 years old, and he was writing in cursive, which we don't even teach anymore. So, you know, the kids are very, very smart. And so he was, us there didn't bother him a bit. He just kept right on with his homework and was doing a good job. Anyway, Pastor Freddie has been going out to the park at least once a week and sometimes more for the last 3 years. And he has built a really good relationship with the people there. And what he wants to do, well, first of all, he did a Christmas celebration for them, and there was about 60 kids that showed up, and he gave them cake and some little prizes, little gifts and stuff. And he's been holding Bible studies for the older kids at the park. Because they are building houses right up next to it, he is wanting to build a little chapel in the back corner so that they can have worship services there too. So I think the park, our observation of the park after all of this is that it was a great project. The land was given to us. We built the park, and now it's still in the process of being turned over to a local, and it's going to be put in Pastor Freddie's name eventually. But it's going to be a great benefit for that area and that community. And the amazing thing is there's no graffiti on our walls. You know, there is graffiti everywhere in Peru. They tag everything. Even the Baptist church in Huancayo was tagged with graffiti. But our park is clean and clear. There was no trash on the ground, which is, again, very unusual. So they are taking pride in it. They're keeping it clean and graffiti-free. So the next thing I want to talk about is 4 churches that we've been working with down there for a long time. Orcatuna, Pastor Gonzalez's church, which is the Church of Life, and Pastor Samuel, and Orcatuna. All of these people do not really have a church denomination or affiliation with a an organization. So they have gotten together, and they've been working together all through the pandemic and even before. They've been working very closely together, helping each other out wherever they can. And they want to form an association. They want to become Baptist churches and form an association. Y'all, that's exciting. And we can have 4 planted Baptist churches in Peru, and possibly 5, because there's another one that's thinking the same way. But these groups they are very mission-minded, and they're very much into serving the community. And so other denominations down there don't do that, only Baptists. So that's why they're wanting to become a Baptist church and form an association. And with them belonging to an association or having an organization over them, they will get some benefits from the government and other benefits. So they really need to do this. So I'm going to be talking with the missionary down there about it next week, and we're going to get things moving along that line. So let's see. Next one I was going to talk about is Wauchuk. We used to live in Wauchuk a long, long time ago, and met a girl named Caddy there. She was at the youth camp that we did in Wauchuk, and she got in touch with me. I've kept in touch with her through Facebook, and she knew I was coming, so she wanted to meet with me, and we did. We met her there in Wauchuk. She's now about 22 or so, and she was married. She's a widow. Her husband died, and she's got a little girl named Camilla. Steve actually baptized her on that trip when we had the youth camp. So it was great to get to meet up with her again. And Manzanares is right next to Wauchuk, and Pastor Delphin is one of the pastors who we've been working with for a long time. And he was a pastor that came to the pastors and missions training that we did several years ago. And he was the one that, him and Pastor Freddie were the 2 pastors that really caught on to what we were saying about missions and the importance of missions and going outside of their church walls and doing ministry. And it has really become a passion to him. And he actually, he left the church in Manzanares right before the pandemic because he felt God calling him to work up in the mountains in an area where he was doing ministry. And so actually it wasn't actually a volunteer leaving. He was going up there a lot, and he felt God leading him there. And the people began to complain because he was spending a lot of time there and not with them. So he said the best thing to do is turn over the pastorate to somebody else. And he turned it over to Pastor Elias, who preached for a while. Well, he died last year. Pastor Elias passed away last year. And the church called Pastor Delphin and said, we want you to come back and be our pastor, and we won't argue about how much time you spend in the mountains. We know that's important, and we'll even help you with the ministry in the mountains. So that's a great thing too. So y'all pray for him, because he's now got 2 congregations. And when we go back, he said he really wants us to go up and visit the area where he's the ministry area in the mountains, and give him advice and some suggestions on how he can better minister to the people there. When we got there, they had a sign, welcome, and had a cake. It was the chocolate one that you'll see with all the candies on it, and a firecracker, a firework candle. It was fun. We had so they had cake for us, and most of the people were working and was not able to be there, but they all wanted to know how much they appreciated us. And Pastor Delphin told us how he said that they were continuing to do individual Bible drills and Bible contests in their church all through the pandemic. They met. And he realized how important it was that they participated in the Bible drill, and they learned study habits during that time. They increased their desire to learn, and it helped them in their schoolwork. they noticed their grades in school improved while doing the Bible contest, because they were studying that so hard it led right over into their studies at school, and so they're doing better in school. And so he shared that at our Bible school, at our Bible drill meeting also. So people are really excited about that, you know, it's not just helping them learn the Bible, it's helping them in their schoolwork too. And so they're doing monthly contests. He gives them verses at the beginning of the month, and they learn them, and then they get prizes at the end of the month. And so they are looking forward to taking the whole thing again this year. They've always been either first or second place in the Bible drill, and they're planning on doing it again, and they probably will because they are so dedicated to it. Okay, I think that's all of that. Okay, Scott is going to come share some, and Rick too, but whichever one y'all want to go first. No, finish up the churches first.
I'm going to touch on Pastor Samuel and his family. I just see the pictures up there. It was maybe the third or fourth day in Huancayo that we went and met with him. Before the pandemic, we had met with him, and he had was forced to go out and teach English about 4 or 5 hours away from his house for 3 or 4 years. He was only come home a couple times a year. That was really detrimental on his family, but you know, he knew his family was there supporting him while he can support his family. As a pandemic, the second day of the pandemic, he said they shut him down and they sent him home with no job. And the Lord provided for him. He said he was only out of work probably 3 or 4 months during the pandemic, and he had gotten a job online through the computer teaching English to students there around Huancayo, and then eventually turned into just about a month ago, went back full-time to a full-time English teaching job. So that was a praise that he's been looking for a while, since he's been, you know, in and out of jobs. Him and his 7 kids, they're doing great. The mother's still waiting for the father to come back from the United States. That's one prayer that he asked our church to pray, that, you know, one day that the husband will return. He's been here for a while now. Pastor Samuel's desire has always been, of course, start another church. He had a church when I first started going, and the Christian Alliance had shut him down, so he's been in and out for a while, just doing small Bible studies at his house, and trying to educate through school and bring, you know, the Lord in with his school teachings. And it's worked out some for him right there where he lives. He's another one that wants to go into this association and start a church there in his house, and be under the umbrella over, you know, as a Baptist church, one of the 4 or 5 that Miss Barbara was just talking about. When we were there, we talked about the Bible contest with them too. That's coming up next year. They're all happy about that they can get things back to normal. It was pretty odd that we had a double mask some places, especially on the plane, going there, going back, because, you know, you can walk out here and don't have any masks, don't have to worry about anything. But they're kind of still freaked out, you know, about the pandemic. But for the most part, people are still starting to go back to church within the last month. They said that the one congregation, I think they've met 3 or 4 times, and they're up to maybe 25% of the capacity. So I was happy to hear that. Let's see what else you got here for them. Did you touch on the meeting or no? Okay. 21 different groups of churches that are going to participate in that. That was the biggest turnout yet since we've been trying to get the whole thing together. You know, there's 21 different groups that want to participate in the Bible drill, so that was pretty cool. That's it for me on that. I'll do the trivia game whenever we're ready to start that.
All right, so first one we're going to talk about is Orcatuna. This was my first trip going to Peru, and first time ever meeting these people, but upon our arrival there, immediately they treated us like family. When they said, "My home is your home," you really felt that. They were really, really great people. Right off the rip, we met with Pastor Reuben. Just like Miss Barbara said, he's a very small man with the biggest heart. He's very, very sweet person. We also met with Miss Anna, his wife. We met with Yoshi and his wife, Ruth. They were really good people. They said that the pandemic has struck them really hard. They're not exactly open with the church, but due to the issue they have with the Christian Alliance, they still feel betrayed by them, and also the pandemic's not helping with that. They're still working with children and teenagers in the area. Haven't quite started holding services just yet. Miss Rubens also, or Pastor Reuben, he's still known as like the honey man. They sell the honey over there. It's completely different than what we have over here. It's like a white color. It's really neat and it's delicious. Everybody still brings their honey to him. He's no longer doing it himself, but he's selling honey for everybody else because he is that well known as the honey man. Yoshi and his wife Ruth, they're going through some issues themselves. Apparently, with Yoshi being from the jungle, Ruth being from the mountains, Ruth's family is not that, or I'm sorry, Yoshi's family is feeling not that acceptant, not really wanting to accept the relationship between them, I guess, due to being from different places and also Yoshi being from a tribe in the jungle. So there's a little animosity there in between them, a little bit of an issue. It's they need some thoughts and prayers that maybe Yoshi's family can go and maybe just soften their hearts to accept them further. Anna, Pastor Reuben's wife, she prepared a huge dinner for us. It was awesome. They got some amazing mashed potatoes. They also cooked some cuy. If you don't know what cuy is, it's guinea pig. Yeah, I had a little bit. Scotty tore it up. He was pronounced a true Peruvian because he demolished it with nothing but bones left. I couldn't figure out how to eat it myself. I'd pick it up and take a nibble, and anyways, it was good what I got. April tried a little piece of it, believe it or not. Also, Becky tried a little bit. It was good. It was good. Great stuff. Okay. Well, also, there's a house that's still under construction. They're still building the house. It's somewhat attached to the church. It's going to be where Yoshi and his wife's going to be staying. We done some painting on it. We painted it some really pastel colors. Turned out really nice. It was yellow, blue, and like a minty blue color. Yellow. Yeah, that's right. Yellow, blue, green. That's right. It was really neat. It turned out really nice. Also, Yoshi, they're wanting to start up a business selling bags and such. Trying to do something just to help out with income, things like that. They're trying to raise money so he can go to art and design school, something of that nature, so he can actually get a degree, get a certificate, and actually do it the proper way. Also, there was a young fella that had met with Miss Barbara about probably 10 years ago when he's 12 years old. He's now 22 years old, and he remembers her like yesterday. First thing he had to do, walk up and give her a hug. and it was really, really neat. There's been a seriously good impact that we've made over there in Orcatuna. And so now we'll skip over to the jungle. Oh yeah. So the day we arrived in the jungle actually wound up being Scott's birthday. So that was interesting. I think Scott turned 29 or something. Yeah, it was a complete different area from the mountains where we were in Orcatuna and such to the jungle. It's there's not a chippy store around the corner. You're literally out there all to yourself on an island. It was really, really interesting. People were just as kind as they were in the mountains. It was a great place. We stayed with the pastor there, Pastor Rolando. Stayed with him, his wife, Lucy. Yeah. We stayed with Rolando, Lucy, and their children, and they were just sweet as could be. Of course, said, "My home is your home," and it felt that way. It was really good, really amazing. Interesting fact also, I don't think there was a house on the island that had electricity. If they had electricity or had power, it was because they ran off generator, or solar. It was interesting. It was no air conditioning. It was awesome. Also, while we were there, we wound up building a platform, not as eccentric as what we have here, but we built a platform to go along with the church where Rolando preaches at. It was maybe 12 foot by 12 foot, something like that. It was a nice little platform, and of course, like I said, there's no Jiffy store right around the corner. There's no Home Depot or Lowe's. You have to cut down the tree. You have to go and cut your own boards, plane them out if you want to be smooth, sand it down, all that good stuff. We didn't cut down the trees, but we did wind up building our boards and doing all that good stuff. It was a lot of fun. Might pick up a new job as a millwright somewhere. Okay, so that was interesting. They were extremely happy with it. It didn't get completely completed. We wound up running out a little bit of lumber, out of resources, but we got more than halfway done with it. They were extremely excited about it. Also, we wound up being there during the 4th of July. They went out of their way. They picked up an American flag, and they actually allowed us to raise an American flag on the 4th of July. So that was really neat. That was really good. We also said the Pledge of Allegiance right there. It was a heartfelt moment. A little taste of America a little taste of North America down in South America. So also, following that, we wound up going to a little area that they've kind of cordoned off, and they're actually declaring it a little park. I guess it's some way associated, or they're wanting to associate it in some form or fashion with Quitman, or possibly with our church. They're talking about possibilities of building a park there, because we went through there the day before, and there was a large soccer field, lots of children playing around in the area, very large crowd out there playing soccer, and just children abundant everywhere. And somewhere like that would be a prime place for a park, just viewing how many children were there that day. What else? Oh yeah. Also, so the children here, they immediately took in with the children that were over there. Pastor Rolando's children just made brand new best friends. It was amazing just how quick it was. Even though there was a language barrier there, I mean, they don't know what they were saying, but they played together like best friends. Even Brantley, with their youngest daughter, they were holding hands going to the offering, handing off money and such. I mean, that was really amazing. Well, as far as the jungle goes, that pretty much concludes that and Orcatuna. What we got left?
Also, Rick failed to say that not only did Scott go to the jungle for the first time on his birthday, I just unplugged our buzzer. He went to the jungle for the first time. He went down the Amazon for the first time. It'll be a birthday he never forgets, because he also preached his first sermon in the jungle. And Rick also had to speak that night as well as myself. So, you know, like I always say, you better, when you go on a mission trip, you better be prepared because, you know, you don't ever know when somebody's going to call on you. Although Scott did, I kind of threw him under the bus
Yeah,
before we
she
left because Rolando said, when he asked who was coming, and I told him, and I think he thought, I think he
Steve
got
was
it, I
coming.
think he thought it was Steve.
Yeah.
He got Scott and Steve mixed up. So he wrote back and he says, great, Pastor Scott can preach Saturday night. And so I
And-
just
and-
wrote,
and Sunday.
Sunday morning.
But I
And
said,
so I just wrote back.
I'm only preparing for one.
I wrote him back and says, sure he will. And he did a great job. Oh, I'm over here. Okay, we're gonna play a little trivia game.
Have you ever done this up here or no? Or this buzzer system?
Yeah.
Here? Okay.
Hit a buzzer. Yeah, it works.
Okay.
We use this buzzer system for the Bible contest, for the Bible Bowl for the older kids. So we thought we would just do it, and we laughed so much. We had such a good time, and there was so many crazy things that happened. So this is our little trivia.
So I'm reading the trivia game. Who jumped up from the seat in the pick and hit their head on the, that was me. These boats.
Let them answer. We are supposed to answer.
Oh, but that's me. But these boats are, I mean, they're for short people. I mean, and you know, getting in it, it's not that high off the ground from the stage to the ground. Well, I'm sitting there with my arm out, and I thought something bit me. I really thought like a piranha jumped up and bit me or something. So I jumped up, whacked my head off, and it was bleeding a little bit. That was bad. It was only water running off the top of the tarp on the Picka boat. Okay, so who got caught in an icy shower when the power in the house completely went out? Oh. Tell your story.
Listen, when the power goes out, you got those Widowmaker hot water things that are just plugged right into electricity, and it's instant right there. When the power goes out, the hot water goes out too.
And all you hear is Miss Barbara screaming in the pitch black.
It was ice cold, no light. I just got all soaked up, and the power went out.
We met in the hallway, listening to her scream. Yeah. April shoved her flashlight.
Yeah, he stuck his cell phone under there. Thank goodness. I couldn't find a towel. It was terrible.
Because she was taking a shower upstairs and Javier was taking a shower downstairs, and you know they're 55, they're 5,500 watts. They're just a, you know, end of a shower, and it's plugged into the wall. And we went outside, and it actually burnt the main breaker going into the house. Yeah, we had some heaters going too. We were cold, 28 degrees. Yeah, no heat. So okay, that's what he said. Who learned a first hand to lock the bathroom door?
Becky. We won't explain. She learned.
Who were the four-legged neighbors who probably said we left? We're sad that we left. The house that we stayed at, you'll see, was back up there. We had two. They thought it was pet pigs, but you know they're for food. Yeah. They came up by the mud wall, and they were always looking for food. Who got zapped with the mayo and grape jelly when the lid came off under pressure? So the altitude is, you know, you're going from sea level and you're buying it right here at sea level or a little bit above sea level, and you're going, you know, 12,000 feet, and when that explodes. So that was coffee, jelly, mayonnaise, everything, chips, just blow up. Yes. Inside the church that they're building in the jungle, there's no windows in the jungle at all. You know, when night falls, there's literally millions of bugs. And Miss Barbara's definitely afraid of bats. And I told her the first night, I said, I see some bats flying around. I said, they're pretty big. She says, you exaggerate. So so the second night, everybody saw them. So we're asking what was the size of the bats that were flying around?
What was it? I didn't see them.
She didn't see them.
It went right by Miss Barbara's head. She never even saw it.
Yeah, they're not the little bats. Their wingspan was like that. They're fed very well. Who ate the guinea pig? Total 4.
Scotty and Becky and April actually tried it.
So, our last day flying out of Lima, who was called to the baggage area by security to retrieve something out of the bag when we had 6 minutes to get on the plane.
It was a power bank that my son put in a suitcase.
It was Scotty's fault, but Becky.
It was
got
Scotty's
back.
suitcase, but it was tagged under my name, so I had to go all the way down, back through security, back through customs, all the way through all the shops. And then when I got the stuff, she handed it back to me and she said, now run. By the time I got to them, I could not breathe. I felt like I had just pushed my car on 84 when I had to push it. It was horrible.
The only thing I can think of was the lithium. It was an older power pack, you know, the charged phones, and it had to be the lithium deal. They didn't want it not pressurized under the plane. We just told them to throw it away, and then they're standing there saying, she grabbed my ticket, or she had my tickets in my hand, and I think she was offended when I ripped the tickets out of her hand, thinking she was telling me I was getting on the plane. I ain't getting on a plane, people. But, and then she's telling Miss Barbara to go down. She's already checked in there. She's telling her to go down, and she said, I'm not going anywhere. I mean, this is a foreign country. You ain't leaving people behind. I mean, I don't think. Whose idea was it to walk down the mountain at the overlook? It was on our way back one day. It was a pretty cool walkway overlook deal that was right close to our house that we were staying at, and the driver just offered to take us there. It was pretty cool.
He would have also taken us back down, but Scotty says, oh, let's walk. Yeah, we're at 11,000 feet. Let's walk.
You saw the pictures. We actually played volleyball, and that was breathtaking. How many baby dolls did Brinley have?
2 of them were bought there.
Yep. And how many cars did William get? So our first night in the jungle, it was really, really, really hot. I asked the pastor if there was fans, little personal fans that were hooked up on each room, and I said, can we turn the fans on? It was kind of hot, and he said no, and I'm like, no. I didn't understand at that point that everything was ran off of solar power, which this is their winter, so it's less sun, and then when we first got there, the generator was running to power the freezer that they only power certain times of the day. So that's the only power they have. They have no other power.
And to pump water.
Oh, and pump the water to the big vat that you can take showers with. That was better than showering in the Amazon and getting bit up by piranhas, I thought. but but it felt good. That cold shower felt really good. But by the time we got done talking and everything was late, and what time did the rooster start crowing in the jungle?
2 a.m. for a solid hour. Then they'll rest for about 15 minutes and start again.
So that morning he said, "What do you guys want for supper?" I said, whatever's making that noise, kill them all. We'll eat for a week. Yeah. They had 2 turkeys, a tom and a hen, and they had to import them because of course they're not native to the jungle, but guinea hen. How many North Americans can you get into a taxi?
One more than the Peruvian, or one less than the Peruvians.
So when we got into Jauja, there was a strike on transportation because their inflation, there wasn't much inflation. The only inflation I saw was propane, which they heat all their cooking is with propane and gasoline. Gasoline was like up to about $7.50 a gallon, and propane was up another $10 for a 20-pound cylinder to fill it. So the taxi drivers went on strike. So when we got to Jauja, there was only like 4 cars out there and all these people getting off the plane. Well, we found this little van, and we had to pack all the luggage on top of the van. And whose luggage was hanging off the top of the taxi going down the road? I asked the guy several times with the interpreter, I said, is it connected good? And he said, bueno, okay. Well, who noticed it? Somebody noticed it was almost gone. It was almost, yeah. It was like within seconds of just smashing all over the road. How many motor cars did it take us to the airport in Iquitos? They're little motorcycle Honda, little motorcycles, and you got little space in between for 2 people, but we squished as many people as we could in 4 taxis. And
every one of them wanted to be the first one to get there.
And that's one thing.
It was like we were in a road race.
You know, we're in Sunday school this morning. Me and Buford were talking about how, you know, the United States and a lot of the world's, of course, up to par, or completely further than we can ever imagine as far as technology. Those motorcycle carts are still built like they were back in the 70s with metal gas tanks, square headlights. Honda has not changed the style for, you know, South America, which is, it's kind of interesting to me that they're not, I don't think they really care about the new technology that's out there. I think they just, what change is not in their vocabulary. They, you know, they want to keep going the way they're going. How many cakes were prepared for us? 3. I think the best one was the little manzanares. But I will say they, when we got to Iquitos and to the little island about 2 hours from Iquitos, they had a cake, I don't know if you saw it up there, but it had an American flag on it. And I thought that was pretty interesting that, you know, they would go leaps and bounds to get a cake with American flag, which, you know, and they hung the American flag on 4th of July for us on their pole. And
It won't be taken down until tomorrow. It was going to fly for a week.
I thought that was pretty nice of them to, you know, fly another country's flag over theirs. Who was the biggest shopper? Not necessarily buying, but shopping. Who are the Rubik's Cube masters? Samuel's. All of them. From 6, 7, 8 years. The 15, 14-year-old, 30 seconds, done. That was impressive. Who would never again walk freely around a jungle house without looking down? Talk about snakes, you know, the pastor there in the jungle said all the anacondas are over on the other side of the island, just to kind of make us feel better, I think. Well, we didn't see no anacondas, but I definitely think they were there. Who lived off crackers and French fries for the week? No, you guys pressed it. So our first night there, of course, the kids had to go to the bathroom, and they asked the interpreter Javier to ask the pastor if we can use the bathroom.
This is at church.
Yeah.
They didn't have one at church.
So who walked down the plank over the water to the outside bathroom? Yeah. Go ahead.
But it was no bathroom. And it was a very thin plank.
And who was the smelliest taxi driver?
We don't know his name.
I was at the How Ha Airport. Yeah.
Kind of keep putting the window up because it was so bad.
But Scott did have the privilege of sitting in the front seat with
Yeah.
you. You had a piece of plastic right behind you because of the pandemic.
So it was just swirling in there. Just kept on swirling.
Oh, yes. How many taxis did we break something?
Yes. So our last day, we were heading out of there, and me and Rick were talking about how good Honda engines are, and we upped this Honda engine. That thing was screaming, going across the Amazon. We see from here to, I don't know.
Back door, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, maybe Nightingale Clinic over there. And the motor shuts down in the middle of the river. Yeah. And he's there trying to pull it. Wasn't starting, and broke out the boat paddle and try to get into finally got to shore, and then he finally got it going, and we're like, we'll just walk. But he insisted on getting us backed up and back up the river to where we need to be dropped off at, but
From the time the motor shut off to the time we actually paddled ashore, the river current made us about a mile down the river.
fast. Yeah. But the Amazon's a big body of water. I thought the Mississippi was pretty big, but the Amazon's definitely a lot bigger. Yep,
We have some videos that we want to show you just because, you can tell more with a video than you can a flat picture. So we're going to
That's the
share
stage
some of
we-
these. Yeah, that was the stage at the church.
Since you're talking, Miss Barbara, you better talk about this.
Pastor, oh, wait a
forgot all
minute.
about it. I was going to, but since you're talking,
Becky was supposed to talk about this. I knew there was somebody missing.
I can if you want me to, but I'm
Yes.
just reading it.
Well, if you're gonna read it, I'll tell.
Okay, just tell it.
No, you can do it. It's Pastor Gonzalez's church. It's the House of Life, and we actually have some calendars down here from his church. So please take one so that you can remember to pray for them. If you don't want the whole calendar part, just cut it off, and it's got his information on the bottom. Okay? You want to share that?
I can. I don't remember exactly which day we went, but we went to visit Pastor Gonzalo at the House of Life Church. When we first got there, he's very quiet. He didn't really say much, so I don't know much about him, but he's a very kind man. And he was telling us that they were not able to meet during the pandemic, but because of our support and the organization that helps provide food for the 2 food kitchens, they were able to during the pandemic. They still provided meals to kids on a take-home basis. The funds that we give help purchase plates and bags for them to take the food home. And they serve 200 kids in 2 locations 5 days a week. They did not serve kids on the day we were there because it was the holiday. What day? I don't even know what holiday it was. It was their Catholic holiday, so everything was shut down. Their greatest need is to get water and hook up to the sewer system, but they don't have ownership of the land. The person who owns the land keeps telling them he's too busy. They got up the money to get the water and the sewage hooked up, but by the time they had it, the man kept saying he was busy and they wouldn't do it for them, so he ended up making his own, correct? They said that they're buying it from an individual and they have a contract, but the owner will not go into the municipality and sign the papers for them to get the water hookup. There is no danger of the owner taking the property as long as they make the payments. We just need to pray that either God will soften his heart to provide this paperwork or the contract be fulfilled and they own the property outright. The land is very expensive in Peru and they still owe 68,000 soles, which is $17,567. They are having services in church again. The entire family gets really involved in the lives of their members. They have a family who is blind. They're all blind? They're blind and they're ministering to them. One of the children out of the entire family is not blind. Pray for them as they find the best ways to minister to this family. They also have a 13-year-old girl who is deaf and mute. Pray for proper resources to help minister to her. She wants to participate in the Bible contest, so we need to come up with a way to make that happen. Pastor Gonzalo is one of the hardest working men and is so committed to the children and that he ministers to. Also his family. He's a very big family man, and his children jump right in and don't complain at all. I mean, I know from our children, our own experience, our children complain if you ask them to just pick up their towel they left on the floor. I mean, yeah, you. His grown children still live at home. Is it Ida or Ida? Ida. His daughter, who speaks English, it says she's a sociologist, but I think she's a psychologist also. I think she has both. And most of her clients at this time are not able to pay her, and she'll treat anyone who wants to help her for free. I did hear her talking about a 16-year-old girl I think she's helping that her parents just put her in a very bad place. They told her she wasn't worth anything, and she's never going to amount to anything. She's no good, and from what I understand, she's pulling out her hair and causing damage to herself, and I don't think she's been able to reach her just yet, so we need to pray that she's able to reach her because she sounds like she's been through a lot. She treats anyone to help for free. The government does not view mental problems as a legitimate illness, but she went into this field anyway because she saw it was a great need. She also was telling us that she has to learn Quechua in order they eventually want to have a shelter at their location and the church. And in order for her to do that, she had to have somebody that was the psychologist, I believe, right? And they have to know Quechua. I think she said something about in the schools they need to learn Quechua also. Which her mom did speak Quechua to us, and it was pretty neat to hear it.
Pastor Delphin is missionarying into the deep mountains where there is almost extinct now.
But we also need to keep her in prayer that maybe she will get some paying clients to help support the family, because as of right now, I don't really know where their income comes from, but they're surviving, and it's amazing to see what they can do with nothing. And here we have everything and still struggle. They cooked some chicken cordon bleu and some homemade French fries for us. I think that was one of my favorite and probably only good meals in Peru. We did have a burger at that one restaurant. It was really good, but as far as a home-cooked meal, the chicken noodle soup was good. Oh, yeah, we ate at that restaurant, but it wasn't my favorite. Anyway, then we also celebrated Scott's birthday. The one daughter, I don't remember her name, she made the cake. It was coffee flavored, which, some of us don't prefer coffee, but the cake was very good itself. And they actually, I don't think they even knew it was Scott's birthday. They had just had it said welcome friends on it, and they thought they spelled it wrong because of their English, and they were trying to add an extra L to it when we were sitting there, and it was spelled correctly. I think Javier told him it was spelled wrong. It was supposed to be 2 L's. But anyway, and then we played volleyball, and we had a whole lot of fun. One of the daughters had 2 little girls, and the kids played with them for a while. And while we were playing volleyball, they were playing with them. And the next day, that's all William talked about, is he really liked Pastor Samuel's kids. He had 6 of them, and they just picked up wherever we went. As long as there was kids, they were happy. What dog? Oh, Javier about got attacked by the dog. They had a dog. What was the dog's name? I don't even know. It was like a shepherd or some mutt, but it was their guard dog, and Javier went to go get his bag out of the church, and he went to come out the door, and the dog just started growling and showing his teeth, and there stands Rick, and Rick's like thinking he's going to go help him, and the dog starts growling at him, and he's like, So we all locked off and left Javier in the room, and the dog followed us, but we met a lot of dogs, a lot of friends. I think that's about it, right?
Te deseamos a ti, cumpleaños felices, haz del año 100,000.
Oh, she dropped. Go, William. Switch your hands. Put your hand over.
I can't.
You can try. That's wet, baby. That's wet.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Oh, look.
I think he's hitting the ground.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see? I can't sing. No can talk.
Whoa, that's high.
Wow. That is. One more thing, we will be going, so I want y'all to be praying about it and thinking about it. We'll be going back to the jungle in January for a Bible contest there and building of the park and whatever else we can do. And then the trip to the mountains will be in June.
All right, well, I'm sure you'll get a chance to speak to them, but let's close by going to the Lord in prayer. Precious Heavenly Father, God, just thank you so much for every blessing. Thank you for what you're doing, Lord, here and around the world. And we just pray that you continue to give us discernment, Lord, and guide us in what that you would have us to do. We thank you for all things. We pray you bless these missionaries and just continue to bless their homes as they've returned. We thank you for all things in the precious name of Jesus Christ. Amen. You all have a great night.